RAID 1 enables us to back up, boot sector and system, whereas, RAID 0 wouldn't give us that option. So.
Okay. You mentioned reservations with the HCP. Did you actually implement, or did you just plan the reservations, or did you actually get a chance to use them? And why were you going to use reservations? What was the point of using reservations in the HCP?
Well, with the reservation, we just plan for the user. And I'm not quite sure what that.
What we did, on our both of our servers, when we had the 2 DHCP servers, in our test environment at least, we did set up a reservation, and that's when we did use Andy's laptop to test, make sure that it was getting from both of those DHCP servers. We just had one disabled. So half of a scope was on one DHCP server, the other half was on another. We would disable the other half.
Are you splitting them up?
Yeah.
Okay. You also mentioned, you're talking about routing on your network. You were talking about using RIP inside your network. Did you see any potential issues, any potential limitations using RIP inside your network?
Well, with the domain functional level raised to 2003, NAT was the only issue that was the problem with using the NAT presented an issue that we had to have a policy in place, because if you institute NAT on your network and you don't have a policy in place for VPN, then you run into a similar issue that I know that Peter experienced here recently. I think you guys experienced that. I think the class that's sitting here experienced that. If you don't have that policy in place, then that packet's going to come right to the inside NIC, into your NIC, and it stops because it doesn't know what to do. So you have to enable the system to recognize what to do with that packet. All right, we have to accept this packet. We want to look at it as this, we're going to authorize and authenticate this user so that we can give this user access. So that would be the main issue, was having NAT and RAS.
And so you're referring to your filtering of your packets coming in on the network.
Yeah.
But what I'd really like to know is, you mentioned RIP, and RIP is a good internal networking protocol. I'm pretty sure we can use it here. It works great for small networks. But did you know of any potential issues about the size of your network, the number of routers, the distance?
Once you hit 15 routers, once you're at 15 hops is RIP's limitation. Obviously, with this network, we weren't going to get close to 15 hops.
Okay.
But this is the great part about RS, is that if you're going to have the servers there, once it does expand past that 15 hop point, then it's easily enough to get the IAS server on there, get Radius on there to deal with this gives you the single point of administration for RS, and you can institute your policies, permissions, everything else at that point in time, and institute the open shortest path first across the network, which obviously is going to then you're shutting down RIP version 2 and going to a different type of routing scheme. That's geared for a much larger network.
Between your networks, not inside your networks, but between your networks, Europe and US, what was your plan for routing, or how did you test it? Were you planning on using protocol, static? What was your plan?
Well,
or we just plugged right into each other?
Well, that was, I mean, the way that it stood, we would have used a crossover cable and plugged it in. We just never quite got it to that point.
We did between domains.
How many connections
Between
would you have?
domains, yes.
How many connections were you planning on your RAS server?
Each one was set up for 4. We did get we were able to get internet across both networks. Okay, so we had one left over that we could have used the internet. It would have been the internet connection that would have been used for a VPN connection between the 2 networks. So.
Did you have your relay agent? You mentioned a relay agent. Did you have it configured, or is there a way that you would configure it to prevent that agent from responding before the DHCP server that was already on the network?
I think there's a delay time.
You can set a delay on there, obviously.
Is that part of your plan, or was that just something you remember?
Well, obviously, if we implemented, we didn't ever get around to putting in a relay agent in our pilot But if it was made in the real world, then you would probably need to, yes.
Absolutely, it would have been a requirement had we gone to a 22 server environment, then, we obviously would have needed some relay agents hiding in the network.
You mentioned that you were going to use IPsec L2TP between the networks, I think. Was that the plan? For a VPN between your two networks? Did you foresee any problems with picking L2TP rather than PPTP?
Legacy limitations?
What's that?
Are you referring to legacy limitations as far
Well,
as?
you mentioned legacy on your network.
I mean, running into a Windows 95 or Windows 98 client, yeah, it would. And it would take some reconfiguration to deal with a 98 or 95 client, because you have to go to PPTP. There you go, thank you.
And you said you had legacy clients though?
No, we did not have legacy clients on that.
So you had the wins for what purpose?
In case when we, like I said, notorious for buying up other companies, if we didn't want to integrate Windows or newer versions of Windows, set up
It
Windows.
just speeds up the process until we can get everything upgraded to XP. Or Vista.
A few questions. On the Win server, so that's is that one Win server on every domain as well, or just?
We just had it on the print server in one domain of the AFP US and AFP EU, which were the main.
Is it just there for just in case, or do you actually have something that needs to have Win server implemented?
We didn't have anything, but just in case, you never know what you're
I see. Okay. So you didn't really care about backing it up or replicating it or anything like that, I guess.
We had a setup replication
Push a pull or
between the two, push pull, both.
both.
Yeah.
If DNS goes down, it's a nice thing to have, I guess.
Okay, and well, a question on the backup scheme. You're doing full on Saturdays at 2 a.m., is that correct?
Yes.
So it's Friday night that you're running that, correct? Or is it
Technically, Saturday. So Saturday.
Saturday morning or Friday night?
2 a.m. when you're not home yet.
2 a.m. when you're just shutting the bar down, Kasama, okay?
Okay. On Friday night. So it's 2 a.m. on Friday night. And then you also do incremental on Monday through
Monday through
Friday
Friday.
at 9 p.m. So at 9 p.m. on Friday night, you do have incremental running,
Yes.
and then at 2,
2 a.m.
you have full. So is someone there at 1 in the morning checking the tape, or?
Yeah, you are. Purely automated, so if the tape goes down, it notifies somebody and has them come in and.
Hikes and rescue.
Okay.
We have an unlimited IT budget. We actually have a couple of people that are monitoring.
A nice
it all.
bulk of the tapes, okay.
I'm looking at
Robotic arm changing tapes out as needed. It's a pretty decent setup. You'd have to see it.
We'd like to see it
And I have a question on Active Directory and the management of it. You didn't really mention much about use organizational units. Did you have that implemented, or
Yes.
what do you?
For each department, we had an OU set up.
What are some of the benefits of you going that route?
Just more along the lines of ease of administration, and if someone else comes in, they can see where everything's organized.
So do
Just
you
like-
have any kind of delegation